Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be discussing a major topic in Destiny 2. Now that topic is going to be PvP. Now this is obviously pretty much 50% of Destiny 2 is so PvP and PvE. Now I've always liked PvP in general. I've played it for years, and to be honest, I still don't mind the game. Yes, we've lost a lot of player base, but in today's video we're going to be discussing why that sort of is, how we can make it better again, and pretty much just a topic that you guys can comment on down below. And let's get obviously a discussion going below on different opinions from different sort of players, top players, average players, and below average players. What will make the game good again? But with that said, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, drop a like on today's video, and with that said, let's jump straight into it. So the first things first, guys, I want to talk about the loot, which is a major sort of proportion of Destiny 2, and for me, the loot in Crucible is terrible. I mean, we've got no good guns to grind for. The random drops, there's no guns that are sort of meta at all, especially just in the normal control playlist. Yes, we have trials, but we'll talk about that later on in today's video. I'm talking about just your simple standard jump into a game. We have no weapons that are easily obtainable from just control that are actually any good or usable, in my opinion. And I think that is a major disappointment, and the main reason why people are not playing Crucible, and that is because there's nothing to get from it. If you guys are a PvE player, nobody's jumping into PvP to get out, because like I said, the weapons are just absolutely dog shit, and we've had the same weapons for so long. It pretty much just standard sort of rolls round. They change it up a little bit, and then obviously they keep reusing the same old stuff, which is a major problem. Like I said, I don't think that's helping at all. Now, game mode wise, yes, they bring out new game modes, but they tend to be sort of terrible game modes that nobody really plays, in my opinion. Like, the main ones that people play are Rumble and Control. It has been for absolutely years. And obviously they did make the change to, I think it was skill-based in Control, which I've never agreed with skill-based matchmaking. I've never understood why they do it. I mean, I kind of get why they do it, because it sort of defends the people that are worse at the game from getting in lobbies with higher players. But to me, I feel like it just doesn't reward people that grind the game. If you've grinded that Crucible and got to a high level of sort of gameplay, and then you're matching people that are high levels, you're never going to get better. And I've said this with different games, skill based does not work, because if you're just playing the same skill, how do you get better? You're not beating anyone that's better than you. You're just sort of farming people that are just the same level, doing the same stuff. You're never going to learn tips and tricks off someone that is similar level, in my opinion. But that is definitely a topic that's probably going to cause a lot of uproar in the comments. But this is what this video is about. We want to see the problem. We want to know your opinion, and hopefully Bungie will see this video and they can make some changes, hopefully, depending on how well this video does do. So that's the first point for me. It's loot and sort of game modes. The next point I want to make is Iron Banner and trials. Now, Iron Banner comes around, I think it's once a month now, around about then. And to be honest, I enjoy it. I do enjoy Iron Banner now and again. But for me, like yet again, the loot, there's only so much loot they can put, which I do get. But oh my God, how many times are we going to reuse the same loot, the same armor sets, just the same stuff? It's always just the same every single month. It's not as if you sort of do it like trials where it comes around and you can just farm one weapon, or it's something different. You can pretty much get everything done in 1 week of Iron Banner, and then you've got that same set for pretty much the rest of the year until they do in fact change it in the update. But like I said, that is no good to a person that does play the game a lot. Like I said, there's nothing to really keep you playing Iron Banner. Once you've sort of got it, you may as well just go on Control. There isn't really anything to grind for, in my opinion, once you've got the god rolls you guys do want. But yet again, it's a good game mode. One thing I don't like is that it's all week. I feel like trials should still come around, especially when Iron Banner's on, because a full week of just Iron Banner can get boring in my opinion, especially if you are a PvP player. And this leads me on to trials. Now, trials you could have a separate video for, and I don't want to talk too much on it because there's a lot of things that they've changed recently, and a lot of people do like it. Me personally, I'm so 50-50 on the new trials sort of way it works now. I feel like it's a good idea that people from like PvE can get an adept version. I fully agree with that. The one thing that is starting to annoy me though, guys, is they've kind of forgot about the people that play PvP all the time. And yes, a lot of you watching won't be sort of PvP sweats like myself and a lot of others. I fully understand that. And I'm not taking away that you shouldn't be able to get an adept weapon. I like the 7 sort of win and you get an adept weapon. I really do like that. The one thing I don't like is that you can only get 1 flawless per week. I think that is the most stupidest thing they've done in quite some time. Now, it may not bother you, like I said, if you're a lower tier player and you're just jumping on to get the weapon, but for people, the reason the lobbies are so dead is because people can't grind flawless anymore. Once you've got 1 flawless, what is the point in putting yourself through it? The reason people used to play trials non-stop was to farm that flawless, and we've seen in the numbers pretty much how much it's dropping recently in the player count and how easy it is to get those adept weapons. But not only that, what I do think is a little bit stupid is obviously having certain weapons each week. Now, I get why they do it, because you want people to obviously just farm for that 1 weapon and it's guaranteed. And lower tier people will say, I just want to jump on when it's that weapon and get it. But for me, I feel like when it's a crap hand cannon or a crap, I don't know, maybe sniper or something you guys don't want or are never going to use, then it's pretty much pointless playing trials as a whole. I feel like the flawless drop from the chest should be pretty much random. You should be able to get every single weapon and it's a random drop. That means what will happen is people go flawless, then they might not get what they want, so they've got to keep playing. Now, yes, it can be annoying if you're just after that one certain thing, so I do get both sides of the argument, but for me, I'd rather have it RNG. I feel like people moan about RNG, but back in D1, that is what kept the game going. That random drop, just waiting for the Galahorn, waiting for the icebreaker, that is what kept people playing, and that is what Destiny 2 has got rid of. Pretty much RNG just doesn't exist now, because anything you don't have, you get pretty much with the exotics that you don't have, you have a higher chance of getting them. And then obviously like your dungeon raids, that sort of thing, if you don't get the exotic, you get a higher chance every single time you play. And I've never ever been a fan of that. I prefer RNG in my opinion, and it keeps the player base active and keep playing and grinding, and that's something we don't have now. A lot of people play Destiny 2 for a month, get what they want and go off the game again, and that is a major problem what we have in PvP at the minute. Now, another thing I don't like about trials as well, and this is where sweats are kind of ruining it, the amount of teams I play that are just sort of resetting at 6 wins to not go flawless and verse worse players, obviously in the not flawless pool. That something needs to happen about that, because if you're going 6 wins, resetting your card just to play worse people, that shows you how shit you are at the game. And I'm going to say that now, there's a lot of top teams out there that just care about the KD. They just reset at 6 wins every single card so that they play in a worse pool of people, which is not what Trials is about. Trials is about being good at the game, and obviously it's a high-end PvP activity. Yes, it's not for everyone, I get that. This is more like your sweaty Crucible players. I fully understand why a lot of people avoid trials. They have made it more friendly, like I said, with introducing the 7 wins to get the adept, and it did work for the first few weeks. But I feel like now what is happening is you're getting these top tier teams that are absolutely sick at the game. They can go flawless every card, but what they are doing is resetting and playing worse people, which is then having a negative impact on the lower sort of skill base of the game and making them not be able to go flawless or even struggling to get those 7 wins, which is not what it's about. People, we need to sort of do something about that. I don't know how to stop it, in all honesty, whether it is possible to stop. Maybe you get a warning if you keep resetting at 6 or something like that. I'm sure they could implement something, but something does need to change about that, in my opinion. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the meta. Now, this is a massive one that puts a lot of people off playing. Yes, I do like a hand cannon shotgun, and I get why people moan when it is hand cannon shotgun, and I get why people moan when it's pulse rifle. What you need to understand is Destiny has so many weapons, different types of weapons, and to balance the game so everything hits the same and sort of is balanced, it's impossible. There's always going to be a certain type of weapon that hits harder than the other. And obviously at the minute it is the pulse rifles, as you can see in the gameplay, and the red rigs. We all know the red rigs at the minute is just crazy. It is getting nerfed, but this is a problem. What seems to happen is there's always a gun that gets good and then it gets nerfed, gets good, then it gets nerfed, and it is hard to balance. I'm not going to sort of deny that. Like I said, there's a lot of weapons in the game. Hand cannons are still usable if you're a top tier player. If you're not, you're going to get outgunned by the red rigs. It's just fact, and it is a meta. But like I said, meta is constantly changing. Yes, it'll be pulse rifles this week. Next week, something else will just take the meta, whether it's SMGs or hand cannons. They're never ever going to have a perfect balanced game in PvP. So people that want a perfectly balanced game in PvP is just never going to happen. It happens in all multiplayer titles, but I feel like Destiny gets shit on the most for it. And to be honest, I don't think that's a valid reason at the minute not to play PvP. If it isn't your sort of play style, then I think people need to just adapt to whatever the meta is, in my opinion, and stop moaning about it. Because like I said, the more you moan, it just changes to another weapon anyway. So nothing's ever going to really change about that. Now, I don't want to make this video too long because it is just a bit of a rant, me sort of ranting. I'm not really editing this too much because I feel like I just want it to be my first initial opinion on these things. The next thing I want to talk about is maps. The maps in Destiny 2, I don't know who makes them, but they need a serious head wobble. I mean, we've probably got, in my opinion, 2 or 3 maps that are like S tier, and we've probably got 2 or 3 that are probably like A tier. The rest seem to just play awful. Now, I don't know about you, but I love Javelin 4. I love Endless Veil, but how many other maps are there in the game that are so bad where you never ever see those maps anymore? You just seem to play the same newish sort of crap maps, in my opinion. And this week on Trials, with it being, I think it's Disjunction, something like that, it is an awful, awful map, in my opinion. I feel like they're just absolutely killing, obviously, the hand cannon. So just, you can't really play anything else other than a scout rifle or a pulse rifle. And I feel like if you're playing on a map, you should be able to play anything. But if you've got a map that's just long range based only, then you failed as a map designer. There should be areas where you can play a hand cannon, but let's be honest, on this map, if you just play the outside with a pulse and some scouts, you're gonna win over a hand cannon team. And that is where I feel like my argument is with the meta and the maps. The maps can make a meta, in my opinion, and that's pretty much a really good saying to go into. The map is the meta. If you're on Javelin 4, you're going to get hand cannons. If you're on Disjunction, you're going to get pulse rifled. So having maps that have a balance of both, I think, is what we need in Destiny 2. And not only that, I've just realised I haven't even mentioned competitive. This is a massive topic. I have said for years that competitive in Destiny 2 is the worst competitive out of any other game, in my opinion. I mean, we've got games like CSGO, Valorant, Rainbow Six, even Halo with good competitive. Halo was made by Bungie. Why do we have such a bad competitive scene in Destiny 2, but yet every other game has such a good one? And that is where we lack, I think. To be honest, like the Ascendant going up them ranks, it doesn't mean, oh, you can't even see what rank someone else is. Like, how can you have a competitive game mode where you don't see someone else's rank? It's just shit, to be honest. But they don't seem to be changing it. They seem to like this sort of point system that they have, whereas for me, I'd rather have it like a bronze, silver, gold, platinum, that sort of vibe, and just keep ranking up because it keeps people playing. The thing that is letting PvP down, in my opinion, is replayability. Once you get to the top rank, what is a point in playing? Because all you're going to do is lose your rank. You're not going to actually keep going. There's no top 500. There's no leaderboards for Destiny 2 competitive. And that is another thing. I've never known a game that has PvP without leaderboards. You don't know where you are in Destiny 2. You can't compare yourself. Yes, there's third-party things like Trials Report, Destiny Tracker, but that should be a feature in Destiny 2, in my opinion. But that is pretty much going to wrap up today's video. If you guys agree with me, leave a like. If you guys disagree, leave a like. Leave a comment down below what your thoughts and opinions are, because I'll be replying to every single comment on today's video. And if you did make it to the end, I really do appreciate it. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.